Hello, this is Joe Sonona with Sonona Speaks Seminars, and this is Coffee Talk with the listing pros in real estate. And my guest this week is Marco Gervasi from Douglas Elliman. How are
Hello,
you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm awesome. So finally we meet. Finally
Yes,
we
I
get you
know.
on this program.
I know.
Through some little quirky things, ups and down battles, we're here. So how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I
Tell
can't
us a
complain.
little bit about yourself, Marco.
Oh, this sounds like one of my dating websites. I am 35, currently renting. I live in West Islip and
How
realtor for
long you been in
five
the business?
years.
Five?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
for 5 years.
5 years.
Um, First generation Italian. Parents were born in Sicily. They moved here 76. Came from nothing, worked really hard to where they lived, and I think those ethics came on to me a little bit. And I enjoy cooking.
Nice. It is
That's a
a
little.
dating. It is a
It
dating.
is. It is.
Well, it's just to get the audience familiar with
Yep.
you and who you are. My fellow paisan here.
Yep.
We come from same part of Italy,
Region. Yeah.
and yeah, it's a beautiful area, Sicily. It really is. Everyone should go to Sicily just to get an experience,
They
right?
should. Yes.
So tell me, you're a listing pro in real estate, and what is your secret sauce to listing?
My secret sauce. It's kind of like how I cook. So you have a lot of different ingredients, right? They have to go together. You have to measure them. You have to measure them appropriately because if you could oversalt something, it'll be disgusting. Uh, but with patience, in Italian we say patienza, patience. So just give it patience, and the chips will all kind of just fall together, and everything just works out.
And what are your some of your ingredients that you put along with patience?
Uh, that is not being overbearing. So, like, if someone were to, ask, I want to list my house, it's not being overbearing to get them to do it immediately, even though that's what we want. But just to make sure that they are in the right mindset of what is about to happen, um, and also making sure what they're doing next, finding out what their biggest needs are, and then just putting all of that recipes and ingredients together to make sure that when that does happen, that there's a game plan for steps two, three, four, five, and six.
That's great. That's great. Do you use any special technology to market your listings?
It's a mixture of everything because everyone handles the technology differently. So besides through social media, which is a tremendous platform for me, but with direct mailers, newspapers, word of mouth, emails, networking, just simply just going to a bar and sitting there and hearing someone say, "I'm looking," and "Oh, I have this." So it honestly is just a mixture of everything.
That's awesome. Awesome. Tell me what got you interested in real estate 5 years ago? What led you to that?
So at the time, I was managing a high-end restaurant in Huntington Village, and you would always see people come in, and they were hosting an event and like an engagement party, and typically, after an engagement party, and someone gets married, and then they eventually, they're gonna get a house. They're gonna do that together. So you kind of just meet a lot of different people of all different walks of life, different incomes, and then it's like, okay, I hit a peak of what I was earning here. It's that salesmanship that you need to be a real estate agent, and the customer service that I needed to do that was all kind of there. And I'm like, you know what? Let me just jump into this. I was 30. While I'm younger, I could just take this large risk since it, was going from a salary to something that's commission based. So, I just wanted to take that giant leap and kind of service people in a different way.
That's great. That's great. What is your advice to new people coming into the business?
Do not expect everything to be handed to you on a silver platter. You have to get it yourself, earn it yourself, and always follow through. And my greatest advice, because I've spoken to a lot of newer agents, and because they would ask, because they might be working maybe a part-time job still, or kind of trying to figure it out. I work strictly on goals. So I have my long-term goal, and then I have miniature goals. So my biggest piece of advice is focus on whether it's with a listing or whether it's with a buyer to get something in contract. Do it professionally, but get something in contract. And once that happens, set your new clock,
Mm.
because that clock is, let's just say, 45 days. So now you have 45 days to get something else in contract to set a new goal, because now what we're trying to do is now build your pipeline. So that's usually my word of advice, because closings are good because that's when you get paid and etc. But to me, I don't care for them. They are that's when the chapter closes, and
Mm.
that's when it's done.
Yeah.
So focusing on building relationship is my biggest word of advice, and goal driven.
Do you think that new people today coming into the industry have that work ethic that they should have in order to do real estate? Do you think there's very little preparation or a lot of preparation for them coming
It
in?
depends on the company that they work for, so it'll depend on their management and their people around them and how motivated they are, where they could kind of get that type of influence. But my opinion is, what people see on TV, on the shows and the real estate shows on TV, and they might think a little bit differently, that it's easier, and that they could just kind of throw themselves out there and put up a Instagram post and suddenly magically appear. But I think with the right mindset from the people around them, that could kind of influence their thought process to maybe get to that level.
When you first came into the business, though, you needed, that guidance and that. But did you get that in school or did you get that with the company you're with
With the
now?
company, and with the company, because we would have weekly training that what we signed up for, that I signed up for, and a few years ago I did it upon myself to have a goal of X amount of deals for 1 year, and I wanted to kind of take that to another level and just do it quarterly, monthly, stuff like that, to really drive myself.
Hmm. What advice would you give to an old timer in the business, like an older agent? You're 5 years in, so you've learned a couple of things here and there, and you've gone through your ups and downs. But what about someone who's 10 years in or 20 years in? What advice would you give if you could give that advice to that person? Put you on the spot.
You did.
Well, if you and I were sitting down and I'm 30 something years into the business already, and you could give me a piece of advice, what would that be?
Don't underestimate the other person on the other side, on who you might be doing a possible deal with, because you never know that in a few years from now they might have a slew of business that it might get repetitive, that you're dealing with that person. So I think my biggest piece of advice is to kind of take everyone with open arms, and not just kind of shut the door just because they're maybe brand new.
And does working in real estate today, as opposed to, let's say, 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago, you were in the business 5 years, but
Yep.
do you think that brokers and managers have a special role now more than ever to guide new agents and older agents in a different way as opposed to when you first started? Even, this is
Well,
post COVID now. I mean, or during COVID.
well, especially during COVID, because there's so much information that we need to be able to convey to people, to make sure that they're doing it correctly by New York state law. So that type of uh, professionalism that we get from management to make sure that everyone is understanding that we, discrimination and doing, everything responsibly, you need that from the
Right.
broker and the management because, you're not going to just get that on your own. You have to, unfortunately, be told that.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a lot of that going on right now where people are just really unsure about what they're doing. They're kind of like going in one direction, going another direction. Some offices I've heard, some agents I've heard, they thirst for more knowledge while the others don't know where to get the knowledge.
Right.
And there's a lot of topsy-turvy things going on in our
Yep.
industry, isn't there? And then you put that in with a seller's market and you got yourself the perfect storm of what?
Yeah,
We don't know yet.
I know.
So the fiduciary principles of our business, which is the cornerstone of our foundation of our very being, deals with some duties. And I always ask every guest on the show, if you had to pick one of these fiduciary duties of obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accountability, reasonable care, which one would you pick, Marco Gervasi, and why?
I think I would pick confidentiality. The a majority, and my reason why, the majority of the business that I've kind of been doing have been referrals from friends and or working with friends, and sometimes just people don't want, and they're just afraid to tell you all this information about their financial life, and that trust that you're not going to just go blabbing things out for the world to know. So I find that to be super important because once you have that trust, then that particular person, whether they're buying or they're going to be selling, that they're locked in with you because the trust is incredibly important.
Do a lot of people trust you?
Yes,
Okay. What's that secret sauce to getting people to trust you? And I'm putting you on the spot with that
that's
one.
fine. It's a good smile.
Okay.
It's a good smile. That's my secret sauce.
Well, I want you to keep smiling. I'm honored to have you on the show. You were 2019 YPN grad. There's my phone again.
Yep.
Our phones just keep ringing and ringing and ringing. Um, let me congratulate you on that honor because it's still an honor to be in the top 20 under 40.
Thank you.
And thank you for being on the show. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank
Any
you.
parting words before you go?
Don't ever go up.
Don't ever give up.
That's it.
And work hard, right? Isn't
And
that what
work
you have
hard.
behind you?
That's
Okay.
where it says it right there.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. This is Joe Sonona with Sonona Speaks Seminars, and this has been my honor to have Marco Gervasi from Douglas Elliman here this week and giving us his tips on how to be a listing pro in real estate. Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Take
Thank you.
care.